talk hockey, shall we? And 90% of the time, it's probably good. Shall we talk about the Vegas showcase?
Where do we begin?
Where do we end?
Yeah, that's a good point. We were off to a great start. Christian, you got that? Write that down. Chuck hasn't sung yet, so that's good. I think we need to do that. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
I like it. Glad we survived the Armageddon.
Yes, we did.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a brand new hockey year here on Facebook Live. We are coming live to you from Carlsbad, California. It is the season 2 premiere of the report card here on Facebook Live. I'm ignoring him on purpose because we're starting off on a great note. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the report card here on Facebook Live. I'm Eric Pesolano. You know Chuck Lasik. Pinch hitting for the Iceman today. We have the commissioner, Matt Blanchard, from the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League.
Pinch hitting is a minor term. I can never, ever.
You can't replace Pookie.
I can only fill 1/10 of what the Iceman is.
Yes. My goodness.
Goodness gracious. So we've mentioned the Iceman like 4 times already.
Yes. We've mentioned the Iceman a few times already, and we were taking bets earlier, so we'll see how many we can get to as the show progresses. Want to thank all of you for joining us here on the report card. It's our season 2 premiere. Thank the guy to my left for renewing us for a second season. We didn't think we'd make it.
Nope.
So we
last year was a great
that.
day. Just on a straight, last year was fun. It was great. I think you guys, the show was fantastic. Not that to say that there's any pressure on you this year, but I think the first location has been, you hit this one out of the park so far, and what you guys have on the docket, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, is for this coming season is tremendous. I think it's, it was fun.
Yep.
Raise the bar, and we'll be fine.
And talk about raising the bar. We got a lot for you in store this year. We took the show on the road a couple of times last year. We're going to do a lot more this year, Chuck, and we're going to be all over the place.
We're going to be on the road again, definitely. Definitely. A lot of travel.
I just hope the Iceman can make it with you guys, at least for half of them.
You're going to fill
is that like number 5?
You're going to fill that quota in the first 10 minutes of the show,
exactly.
and it's going to be great. But here today, you can see our background here is a little bit different. We're down in Carlsbad, California. We are on the campus of Pacific Ridge School, home of the Firebirds. It's homecoming for them today. They're going to host the season opener in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League later on tonight over at Icetown Carlsbad. We'll cover that game for you tonight on Black Dog Hockey. They're going to be hosting the defending varsity Division II champion Capistrano United Coyotes. You can catch that on Black Dog Hockey at 7:30 later on tonight. They've got homecoming pep rallies going on behind us. You can see the entrance to the gym back there. You can kind of hear it in the background as well. All those students, I think there's somewhere around 400 or so of them in the gym right now.
There's electric in that gym right now.
Yeah, it is. They're going to come out of that gym, and they're going to flood behind us, and later on we're going to have some members from the staff here at Pacific Ridge School, as well as some of the hockey players, and Coach Juan Trevino as well are going to join us here on the report card. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's what's on tap for you here today. We're going to talk about the season coming up.
I'm just going to say
thank
goodness the season's here.
Yes, no, exactly.
We as a league pushed it back this year.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, some new changes.
It was great on paper, but man, I'm itching to get going.
Yeah, we have a lot that's coming up, and it's going to be a little
Christmas
bit condensed
morning.
too.
When you wake up this morning, yes, it was.
We usually started about a month ago.
Yeah, exactly.
We're back things up a little bit.
We're a month
the
behind.
NHL has even started.
Yes.
That usually
Ducks 1-0, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
1-0. There you go.
I believe that's right.
Yeah. 1-0. There you go.
You're right on top of that.
There you go.
I'm sure you'll rant and rave about that later on
there's
the
2
show.
important dates this year that you guys got to follow.
Yeah, that's exactly.
When the Carolina Hurricanes play the Boston Bruins. Just keep that in mind.
Let me guess, they're going to be wearing their Hartford Whaler jerseys.
Darn tootin' there, Chuck. Darn tootin', baby.
We are 5 minutes in, and we got our first Hartford Whalers reference.
Hey, I'm on the show.
You
got me, you're going to get the Whalers, too.
You're going to sap it up today, and we appreciate it. We're so
glad.
But
the Iceman would be fully behind me on that.
Number 6.
So that's what's coming up this year as far as broadcast-wise and everything that's going to happen on the report card. We've got a bunch of venues, like we mentioned a little bit ago, that we're going to be going to. We're going to kick off our year here in Carlsbad. We're going to go to Anaheim Ice at the rinks like we always do. Going to move to the Great Park Ice and Sports Complex down in Irvine, which will be our new home come the first of the year. And we're going to take this show on the road to Sin City later on this year, boys. In December, we're going
Las
to
Vegas.
Vegas. We're going to feature the Vegas Junior Golden Knights on the report card out in early December, so stay tuned for that. We got a lot
Are we sure we're going to pull that one off?
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm fascinated that you guys are ambitious enough to try to pull that one off.
That's got to be fun.
We tried to pull this off today, and it's worked well so far. We got to give a big shout out to Christian Ilton, of course, our technical director, camera operator. He set up all this for us here today. All I did was put the batteries in the microphones.
I got new I see you guys got new microphones. You guys now have, this is like a legit setup here. I mean, kudos.
We did well in the budget increased a little bit from what I understand.
Yeah, well, you guys.
We tried to make good use of it.
Success, and success breeds success. And Christian, I'll give you a stiff handshake after the end of the show. You did a great job.
That's the bonus he's earned, folks. That's the type of work he's put in here today. Boys, let's rewind a little bit here and talk about the end of last season and all of our championship games, which were absolutely stunning for the most part. We started Division I, as always, Santa Margarita in that Shulman Cup final. They took down Tahoe Hockey Academy. Game wasn't all that close. Eagles won 7-2, but the bigger story was what they did after the season and went all the way and won a national championship.
Yeah, well, they're trailing, 3-2 in the waning minutes of the game, and it's Levy Solani right there banking home a goal with seconds. It's kind of like the Brian Hodges game.
It was Felichikia.
No. I thought
No, you got it all wrong. You're already 0 for 1, Chuck.
Am I 0 for 1? It was Felichikia that tied it?
Felichikia tied it.
Yes.
And then Solani wins it.
And Solani wins it.
So you guys got to get this thing backed up.
Is that backwards?
Yeah, it's backwards.
I'll take the first fault on that for the year.
Yeah,
That's
you're
my
right.
bad.
It does
I
say
typed
that.
it backwards.
Exactly. I thought it was
even
the
though I
same
knew what it
thing.
was.
Thank
Exactly.
goodness.
Obviously,
Thank goodness I'm here.
You've seen it all.
Thank goodness I'm here with you guys. Iceman would be just going like this. Yep, whatever.
Yep, okay, that's good.
There's 7. Right there. Anyway, maybe 8. I think we're at 8 right
Okay.
now.
But yeah, no, I mean, you got the whole regular season they were dominant, even in our league. I mean, you could see it brewing in our league play, and then they just cruised through everything. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
And it just shows you the determination when they're down by a goal, and like I said, in the waning seconds, and there you have Felichikia right there banging home that goal, and then Levy with the top. It's kind of like a turnaround slapper, if I remember. I mean, you saw it all over the news on the news stations, the local news stations that had it, but he kind of turned around slap shot right in the slot right there. He beats the goaltender, and just like that, Santa Margarita, once again, national champions. Not only champions the second time they've been champions, representing Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League.
Regis Jesuit,
Yep.
who they beat the first time as well. It was a powerhouse out of Colorado. I mean, they kind of do the same thing that Santa Margarita does in their league as what Santa Margarita does in our league, and they just roll through it.
Yep.
They're very good every year, and we've seen the coaching staff from Regis Jesuit at different events and the team, and they're a very solid team. But Santa Margarita had, that was their year last year. It was tremendous to see.
Yeah, it really was. Let's talk about a little bit about the team that they played in the Shulman Cup final in the Tahoe Hockey Academy, who actually went to the title game 2 consecutive years.
Yeah, exactly.
They have come out with their hair on fire, Mach 5 with their hair on fire.
Actually, it takes them a while. Actually, they start off a little slow, but then all of a sudden they're kind of like a Perky. Perky's teams used to be like this, where they'd be slowly getting better, and comes playoff time, bam, there they go. They're like that 7th or 8th seed team that you see in the NHL that ekes their way in there, and they've been playing that playoff hockey for that long. They're ready to go, and that's exactly what Tahoe's been doing the last couple of years.
Absolutely. We're going to see them back in Division I this year. We're going to talk about all the varsity divisions and the teams that are going to play in each of the divisions a little bit later on in the show. Let's move on to Division II, the H&S Ventures Cup final last year. Capistrano United, we're going to see them later tonight down the street against Pacific Ridge with a big win over St. John Bosco, 3-1 in that final.
I probably put that as probably the second or third biggest upset we've ever had in the 10 years of this league now, honestly.
And they were the victims of one of them.
Yeah, they were the victims of one of them. They came back and they bit right there where they should have, and they actually really surprised St. John Bosco right there with a big upset. Yeah, and honestly, how you keep St. John Bosco down to only 1 goal? Usually you go 2 minutes in the game, they already have 4. So, I mean, right there, credit to Capital United. Absolutely wonderful job of basically, eliminating the forecheck of St. John Bosco and actually potting a couple goals, and they held on to win that. Actually, a very surprising finish. D2 is always a fun, one of the fun finals to watch.
I thought it was a great game.
Yeah.
I thought it was the game was up and down. The stands were packed. The atmosphere was electric. That day in general was always electric. But to me, that was the standout game of the day. I thought, as you said, Chuck, it was up and down, and both teams really were working hard. Every goal meant something, and you could see it in the players' faces and in their actions. I thought, you knew it was going to be a good game, so you just had to sit back and watch it, and it was like, okay, what's going to develop? I thought it was a tremendous game.
I'll tell you what, I think it was good. I thought it was good. We were going to just see another, 5, 6 goal blowout. But actually,
defensive hockey's always good like that. But when the celebration at the end of a game takes a half hour, it's a big game. It was awesome. And everybody wants to get the picture with the trophy on the ice afterwards. It's a big upset or a big game. So, from an operational standpoint within the league, that's how we kind of judge it. It's like, okay, it was a great game. They were taking pictures with the trophy on the ice. They took it off the ice. They took it in the locker room. They took it in the stands. And I just hope it's in one piece.
Yeah, exactly. We
You
don't know
know,
where
so
it's
it
been
was
after
great.
that,
Yeah,
so
it
we'll
was-
have to
it
wait
was
and
a great
see.
We do need that back a little bit later on so we can
Yeah, it
redistribute
was
it
a
later in
good
March.
game. Yeah,
That much.
yeah.
That game
You're
was
gonna get a shard of wood by the time it's done. Yeah, exactly.
that game was tied at a goal apiece after 2 periods. Zach Lane, Thomas Kapusta had a goal each for each team, and then in that 3rd period, Ben Snyder went to work. He scored twice in 32 seconds on the power play, and that was the difference for Capistrano United. Schedule makers not doing them any favors at the beginning of the year. They got to come down here to Pacific Ridge on a Friday night, and then later on next week, they've got Bosco in that championship game rematch.
I don't know who makes the schedule.
I was just going to say the same thing. Who makes the schedules? Honestly, got to talk to those guys.
You know, but I think, but to me, from a league perspective, I think playing in this game, the opening day, the only game on the schedule, prime time, when everybody's going to be at the arena, the barn is going to be packed today. I mean, could you not want? I mean, to me, that's part of the reward of winning.
Yeah.
You know, you got to come down to San Diego, but if anybody can, it's an easy drive for Capo.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
You know, so it's. You know, I'm sure there's traffic on the 5 freeway, but once they get to the facility, you know, Pacific Ridge, to their credit, you know, and I'm not sure if it's on the docket later to talk about, but, you know, the Pacific Ridge, to their credit, is hosting us here, is going to have a tremendous atmosphere at the game. The Gulls are involved. Fox Sports San Diego's involved. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of personnel that are around here, not only at this building, but they'll be down at Icetown Carlsbad later on. We'll have the Pacific Ridge staff with us a little bit later on. They're going to talk a little bit about the atmosphere that's going to take place down the street over at Icetown Carlsbad, and maybe even a little bit behind us, as you can see. They're getting ready to empty out behind
School's
us.
out.
School's out.
School's out
The
on
pep
the
rally.
weekend.
The pep rally has come to a
It's not
conclusion
summer,
behind
yeah,
us, so they're going to start filing out here in a minute. It's going to create for a great atmosphere. I remember in our season premiere last year, or our very first show, Orange Lutheran set a bar pretty high. I think Pacific Ridge
Ridge
might
probably
just
gonna
up
break
that
it.
here
Yeah,
in
we'll
just a
have to
few
see.
moments, but it's going to get loud here in just a minute. Down at Division 3, Beckman and Bishop Amat got together for the Commissioner's Cup final. Of course, the Patriots won that one 3-2. Another great game on championship
I
weekend.
think it's appropriately named the Commissioner's Cup because we know Commissioner Matt Blanchard's had his eye on Beckman all season.
Yeah.
And right there, he watched them, you know, right there with a 3-2 victory right there. Just an outstanding game played by the Patriots.
They were the solid team in that division all year long. I mean, I don't think they lost a game, and they had a lot of senior leadership. And to get all the way to the end and perform the way they did, kudos to them. I do have a soft spot in my heart for Bishop Amont, who for 2 years in a row have been in the same position.
Yeah.
Watching somebody else get the trophy, which to me is always difficult. But Bishop Amont last year and the year prior, which was 2 years ago, they are, to me, are a sneaky playoff team. I mean, you know, we're not even dropped the puck yet in our season, but, you know, when the playoffs come around, you got to watch the Lancers. I think 2 years ago they proved it. Last year they proved it. And if it's playoff season, somehow they figure it out to do it. They may have 15 kids on the bench or 14 kids on the bench, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you just stand up, you stand where we watch it from, where I watch it from, and they just put the puck in the net when they need to. It's amazing how they do that. So,
Yeah,
you know,
they're always there in the end. They
yeah,
always seem to find a way, and we'll be looking forward to them later on this year. To recap that game, Beckman got 3 in the first period. They got off to a huge lead. Bishop Amat came back. They grabbed a couple in the second period,
And that
and
was
neither
just-
team
hang
scored
on.
in the third.
Yeah,
They got a big defensive battle in the last
right
17
there.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, first title in school history for the Beckman Patriots. They're going to try to back that up in Division 3 as we move forward from the year.
Well, they had a lot of seniors on that team, and again, that was a pretty big celebration. I mean, there were a lot of parents on the ice after that one, I remember.
Yeah.
And again, I hope the cup is still in one piece, and hopefully, you know, the same color.
As long as they didn't celebrate as hard as the Washington Capitals did after they won the Stanley Cup, I think we should be in pretty good shape.
It's funny you mention that because I watched the videos and I'm like, you know what, we probably need to get a cup out of metal.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Exactly.
like,
Forget this wood stuff.
Stuff isn't going to hold up the
it's
barrel.
not going to hold up
last.
for way
Exactly.
too long. So, you know, I think that it's. So I thought about that. Now, the Division, people that don't know, the Division II trophy is actually probably one of the more expensive trophies. The division, and because it's got a cup on there that's got some history to it. It's a stainless steel cup. It comes from New England. It comes from, you know, and if you take a peek at it, it looks a little tarnished, which is the way it's supposed to. So it's a kind of to me, the Division II trophy is somewhat special. I mean, obviously the Division I trophy, and you know, we forgot to mention that the namesake on the Division I trophy this past season delivered the cup.
Yeah, exactly. Mr.
Yeah.
Schulman.
You know, Schulman was, you know, Mr. Schulman and his whole family was there at the championship game, which I thought was,
That was very up.
it's for us in a little league in Southern California, and sponsored by the Ducks. That, to me, that was kind of cool. All 8 of them, he drug them all out and said, we're going to go to the hockey game. So I think it was great.
We're not little anymore.
No. Speaking of not little, we got 50 teams
Yep.
in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League coming up this season. We're going to reveal all the varsity divisions here coming up in just a little bit. The Pacific Ridge representatives are going to join us in a little bit. Christian Ilton is doing his best to wire them up and mic them and get them ready to join us here on the table. We talked about teams setting us up for success here when we take the show on the road. Look at these tablecloths.
Yes, exactly. First
How
class
nice is
operation
this?
right here.
It's
First
lovely. I feel like a firebird.
You feel like, do you think you're going to join the flock? That's what they
The-
call. That's what they call the student
really?
section here. Yeah, is the flock.
Flock.
Really?
Yeah.
Flock of
Is the
Firebirds.
flock coming to the hockey rink?
Yeah. Oh, I believe we'll see them later on
Okay,
tonight.
all right,
You saw
well.
them all file out behind us here.
Yeah.
We'll see them a little bit later.
We'll see how much of the
course.
flock we can get, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the place only holds 400, so we'll see.
There were 400 here
Yeah,
just for this pep
well,
rally.
Capo needs some fans, too. I feel for Capo.
Standing room only. There you go.
Standing room only at Ice.
I got my seat. I don't know about you
Town
guys during the
Carlsbad.
game.
And we squared away parking, right? We'll have a spot over there for when they fill up the.
Well, I'm trusting Pacific Ridge so we get the parking straight. I don't know about
We
that.
got tablecloths. I think we.
I
can
think
handle
if we have
parking
tablecloths
spots.
here, I hope we have parking
We should be
spaces
able
at
to,
the
we should
rink.
have a parking space, yes.
I think we'll be able to figure out. We're going to talk a little bit about
What
the
happens if
season
they don't give
coming
it?
up
Can,
as
can we
well.
talk about Pacific Ridge if they don't get parking spots on the next show and say, you know what, we
Yeah, exactly.
we
Here
had
we
to
go.
walk.
Yeah.
That this is the last show we'll do from here.
This is
yeah,
the
I
last,
wouldn't
this is
doubt
the
it, yeah.
last great schedule Pacific Ridge ever gets. Did I say that out loud?
I think they're listening. too,
It's,
so you gotta be
it's the
careful. You
last
gotta be-
great schedule that you give them, and we schedule them the
pressure's on,
defending D2 champs in their homecoming game at the
Yeah.
open of the season.
All
That's being
They
nice.
can always play on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Speaking of new things, we were looking at it earlier. How about that new show open we had at the top? Huh?
Hey, that was pretty good.
It was,
Have to
it
give
was
credit.
pretty much
I couldn't see
90%. It was pretty much 90% me razzing
It was
you
right
guys,
there.
but
Yeah, you
it's
see it
fine.
right there. Yeah.
We have
You
a
guys,
monitor
with,
now.
you guys with
we
the
see
high tech
ourselves
stuff,
on
I
camera.
couldn't
never
figure
looked so
out.
good.
I couldn't
Christian was
figure
all
out.
excited. We got here earlier. We got all this new equipment.
wanna
He's
know
setting
if you guys
everything
are-
up right here in the atrium.
I almost want to pose with these lights. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like Christmas fair. And then the room fell silent,
Yes.
of course. That's usually how that.
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing.
We can't. Well, let's.
Where's the Iceman when I need him? Oh, how many is that?
Nine.
Nine? Okay.
We need to have Andy Dickerson create like a little graphic at the bottom of the
Yeah,
screen.
with the
So every
checkbook.
time we
Ting,
name
ting.
drop somebody, we'll see how many times it dings.
For
Yeah,
each.
yep.
I think. And then we'll have to owe him royalties.
So you guys are really going to do the show on the road in Las Vegas?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
December.
Lots of
Is it going to be a
surprises.
morning episode?
December
episode.
8th, I believe. Saturday, December 8th, from right in front of
So
City
where can
National
I?
Arena.
Where do I find this?
These-
Where do I
these-
find the schedule for the shows?
You might be able to find the schedule on ADHSHL.com by clicking on the
Shameless
videos tab.
plug.
God, I must be
You might be able to.
on the. Say that again. I didn't quite catch it the first time.
ADHSL.com. Click on the videos tab. You'll see the report card on there. You're going to see our list of all of our shows for the season. We have so many special guests that are going to join us throughout the year, not just Pacific Ridge here today, but later on. I know we got a lot of Ducks personnel who are going to
So who are the guests? Yeah, talk to me about who the
Oh,
guests
you want
are.
me to name drop now? I thought we were going to wait until.
Well, according to my paperwork.
all right, then you go ahead.
You shot right by the location. Well, your locations you already teased me with guests and teams.
You always got to fly by the script, don't you?
Well,
You can't just.
isn't
can't
this
just
what,
wing it.
I'm an engineer. This is
Look
what I
who's
go down
talking.
the list.
Look who's talking. You can't wing it, huh? You can't wing it. Look who's
Who's the
talking.
one who corrected my
Yeah,
script
well,
already?
exactly.
Well, I already made a typo
Yeah,
on here. I
exactly.
figured I'd just
Yeah,
do whatever I
yeah,
want
no
at this point in time.
So who are the guests? Let's see.
We'll
Who do we
talk
got?
about some of the guests. In
Besides
no,
yours
in no
truly.
particular order.
Okay.
Who's going to join us this year?
Iceman.
You want to drop some
10.
Iceman.
There you go.
You guys are going to be the
Sorry.
death of me here today. I know that's going to
Okay.
happen. Well, Mike Perkins is going to join us for the rest of the season. We'll have him
So
back
he
on.
thinks.
So he thinks. Oh, you might take his spot.
This is
that
kind
what's
of
gonna
fun. I
happen?
can see why he likes it.
All right, who are the guests? We're going to get to this eventually.
I just says guess on my list.
Chuck, who's going to be on the show? Neither one of you know this was in the email
You
chain.
guys, yeah, like I read emails. Please, come on.
Well, that's a good point, too. You aren't kidding. Let's talk about some of the Ducks personnel that are going to be on with us so far this year. The host of Ducks Live on Prime Ticket right before every Ducks game, Kent French, is going to
That's
join
gonna
us
be
for
fun.
one
Yeah,
episode
Kent's a
this
good
year.
guy.
We've talked to Kent before. He's
Yeah.
a big supporter of us, and we love everything he does for the Ducks. The radio play-by-play man on AM 830 KLAA,
The
Steve
legend.
Carroll.
The legend.
Steve
Carroll
Carroll
yeah.
is going to
One of
join
the best
us.
in the business,
Can
if
you-
not the best
Really?
in the
You,
business.
you want to talk about a guy
He's going to
who
be on
sh-
our show?
He's going to be on our show. You want to talk about a guy who shows up to the rink early and leaves the rink late.
love
And I'm
that.
not just talking about Honda Center. I'm talking about Anaheim Ice as well. Steve Carroll's the
Carroll
guy.
is good.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
Steve
Steve
Carroll.
Carroll.
Absolutely.
Love
We're going
Steve
to
Carroll.
have the vice
He
president
likes
of the
us too, apparently. Remember? He's
Yeah,
he's
that's
had some
true.
couple, said
He
some
may
nice
like
words
you
about
guys. I
us.
don't know about me.
and I will get through this list eventually. We're going to have the vice president of the rinks joining us, Art Trottier. Art's got a ton
Big
of
boss.
FaceTime on Fox so far. in the
Has he?
offseason.
Oh, with the yes, we'll
with the
talk about
construction
that.
over
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Great Park Ice Sports Complex.
Well, so I told Art about the date.
Yes.
I don't know if I shared this with you, Chuck.
I don't know if we talked about this. Did we talk about
So I told Art. Art is scheduled to be on the show on the 20th because the schedule is where? Where can I find the schedule?
At
ADHSHL.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I
You were the
told-
worst, by the
I
way.
told Art the 20th in the morning, and he's like, I may not be able to make it. And I'm like, why? He's like, I may be in Vegas for the Ducks game. Go figure.
wow.
Go figure.
Do we have to do 2 shows in Vegas now just to get Art on the show?
Did we tease the? You already said
I,
Vegas.
I have a substitute in case Art can't make it, whose name happens to be Art, but it would never be nearly as exciting as Art Trottier.
Who's the sub? You going to leave me hanging now?
Yes, because I have not confirmed it with him.
All right. Well, that's another script I'm going to have incorrect later on this year.
There we go.
It's not official yet, but I'm still hanging. Art could fly out there for the game. I mean, if we do this in the morning, Art's savvy enough to fly and get on a plane and get out to Vegas.
There you go.
That's a good point. We'll be
He's
able
a
to
pretty
figure it out.
sharp guy.
So those are just some of the guests we're going to have on the report card so far this year. We're going to do 13 episodes this year. This is number 1. And we're going to do something a little different this year. Last year we featured all the Division 1 teams on our show. This year we're going to do Division 1 and Division 2. We're going to grab all 12 teams through the top 2 divisions and have them on our show here.
13
throughout the-
teams.
13 teams. Sorry, 13 teams throughout the year and have them on our show.
You're like 0 for 3 right now, dude.
There must be hockey
know,
players
it's
around. I
preseason
can
for
smell
everyone.
hockey players.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's preseason for
It's
everyone.
not preseason for
This is
hockey.
not
I'll say that
preseason.
much. Come on.
In the high school league it is.
that's
Well, I'll
right.
tell you who it's not preseason for. It's not preseason for Pacific Ridge anymore. They've got their season opener tonight over at Icetown, Carlsbad, and we've got some guests who are joining us. I hope Christian's swinging the camera over. Okay, he did, so I'm not just pointing off into the abyss. We have Juan Trevino, the head coach, with us here today, Jennifer Bjornstad, the dean of faculty, with us, and 2 of the players from Pacific Ridge, Patrick O'Donnell and Aiden Bortza, with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And first thing, Coach, we're going to talk about your season opener tonight.
Yeah.
We just saw the pep rally that went on inside of there. They're gonna, all the kids going to bring the energy over to Icetown Carlsbad tonight.
I hope so. We have a ton of support from the Parents Association. They're putting on a big tailgate party. We'll have food trucks, and our honors jazz band will be playing music. And yeah, it's a huge kickoff for us. We kind of see this as our party, whereby we don't do a football homecoming game. We do a hockey homecoming game. So it's a great opportunity for us to start establishing traditions around Pacific Ridge. And as the program builds, it's been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and Jennifer, that's what I wanted to ask you. The spirit, the school spirit around here, Pacific Ridge School, especially around the hockey team. What has that been like the last couple of years?
It has been so fun to see it developed. We opened in 2007. We just had about 100 kids and not very many athletic programs, and we've added athletic programs over the years, and hockey's been one of our most successful. The pep rally today was spectacular. We have a student-led service learning group called The Flock, and they're in charge of putting those
like
pep
that name.
rallies together.
So I've heard
And
about
we
The
had a great
Flock,
45
yeah.
minutes.
I wasn't kidding. I told you it was
You,
called
you
the Flock.
did mention
You
the
didn't listen.
flock. Boy,
you
everybody's
mentioned
talking
the
about the
flock.
flock. It's a
Can I-
big deal.
Can I get one now?
Yeah.
But Jennifer,
I'm one
on,
for
on,
four.
on an academic note, I'm the commissioner of the league. I make sure everything's,
Name drop.
dean of.
Name drop.
I'm actually the director of enrollment.
Okay, well,
Yes.
does Juan keep a good job, or how does Juan check on grades? I'm an academic guy. I mean, hockey. I played hockey, and I love hockey, and I love seeing the student athletes out there, but they're students first.
Yeah, they are students first. This is a pretty academically rigorous school. We have an outstanding faculty, and we also have an outstanding student support team, which is Juan is a part of. So these kids are very well taken care of.
Okay. Does that include study hall and things like that, whatever
Yeah,
they
So
need?
if you're an in-season athlete,
Yeah.
you actually earn your PE credit through your participation in the sport. So during your PE period, you have a study hall where
Okay.
you can study. So 8
Great.
minutes every other day. Upperclassmen also have free periods, and they use that to study as well.
Free periods.
Wow.
Study.
Not really
You guys
free.
are studying, huh?
Shoot pucks.
Okay. $1,000 a day, right, Coach?
Right, that's right.
Juan, you played back in the Midwest at the Eastern Michigan. Obviously, more of a hockey kind of a base, just the whole scenario right there.
Yeah.
Talk about the development right here of basically of the development of a
school in
program.
Carlsbad.
Yeah.
I'll split it out for you, Chuck. A school in Carlsbad.
Yeah, exactly. Not a hockey hotbed.
No, so but you know, surprisingly, it is demographically speaking. A lot of players play hockey around this area. In fact, if I can capture those kids that are local kids to consider coming to Pacific Ridge, even if I could capture half of those kids that take a look at the school and invest that money in education instead of some other club hockey programs, which we know Tier 1 can be very expensive. I think I'm definitely winning. Coming from Eastern Michigan, playing club hockey myself, knowing how good that level of hockey is. I've had some incredible coaches along the way, and really just teaching hockey school is kind of like a summer job. I ended up relocating to San Diego, had a great job doing student support at a school, and thought, you know what, I missed the game. I'm around the game. I got hockey school experience, and so I kind of had that mentality too. This isn't a great area for it. However, what I learned was there's some phenomenal coaches that already exist in this area. San Diego in particular, there's quite a few club programs very successful. You got the San Diego Saints, you got the San Diego Junior Gulls, you got up and coming the Junior Rain skating out of Carlsbad. You've got Craig Sterling, what he's doing over at SDIA. So we consider in Poway the rink that the Ducks just built in their practice facility for the Gulls. So when you think about all those rink locations, we have a ton of players that I think we're trying to capture the best of the best that are looking for the academics that Ms. Bjornstad was talking about to come here to Pacific Ridge. Yeah.
I think it brings us to the players. Guys, how does it feel? I mean, have the whole school behind you. You're looking at 400 deep, sitting there up there, so giving you that support right now for your opening game.
I'm excited, honestly. Like, this is like Coach Juan was saying, it's like the football game, the homecoming game. It's the big game, and everyone's going to come out to see it. Everyone's going to come out to support.
Will you get nervous if the barn is full? Will you look across? Will you look and say, "Oh my gosh, there's Sally from math class," and say, "What do I do?" How does that all play out?
I don't know. I think I've come.
Have you ever played in front of 500 people before?
Yes.
Okay, so you've got that experience.
I do have some experience, like playing in front of cameras and a lot of people, but not much.
Okay.
So.
But you're going to be ready. I mean, you're going to think. Do you think you'll be nervous for the first period?
I think it'll eventually hit me. I'll eventually be nervous, or I don't know.
Okay.
In case we didn't warn you before, this is Matt Blanchard's audition for 60 minutes.
Yeah,
He's trying to go into the hard-hitting report.
I have to make sure I live in the presence of Iceman.
Yeah, exactly.
Iceman number 11, by the way.
So Matt, one of the rites of passage we consider at Pacific Ridge is all of our ninth graders go through what we call an oration. Oration is something that they write, a speech that they develop themselves. It's kind of an argumentative essay, and they're expected to present those in front of the entire student body. So when it comes to stopping a few pucks in front of part of the student body, or giving an oration on something, a sociological study or something you're passionate about, I think we got Pat ready to go.
Yeah, but that's easy. This is Fox Sports San Diego. I mean,
No grade for
Yeah.
Well, I saw some smiles at the end of the table, guys. Talk about your oration a little bit then. What were the nerves like when that came around?
As a freshman, for sure, it's just first time talking in front of a crowd coming up first year in the high school. It's just definitely all the upperclassmen, all the teachers looking at you. It's a little scary. Mine went fine. I've seen some that kind of crashed and burned. Some people do really good, but it's definitely nerve-wracking the first time.
I feel you. I've been talking in front of a lot of people for the last few years, and I'm still not used to this. It's not fun.
One of the great things about the Oration Project is some students do struggle through it, and because everybody's been through it, they can empathize, and they're so kind and supportive as they work their way through it.
That's cool.
And speaking of making adjustments for you guys, this is your third year in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Second year going to be in Varsity Division II.
Yep.
Last year, a bit of a struggle. This year, what have you learned from last year to bring into this year for the team?
Oh gosh, everything. We're a growth mindset school, so we look at failure as just opportunities to grow. I think that considering our record last season compared to our performance, I think those are really two different things. We lost a lot of tough beats, including to Capo. We had them down by 3 goals in the third period. They come back and beat us in OT. Those are things that I don't forget quickly. So I think that the additions to our roster, including Patrick over there, who's a Tier 1 goaltender, those are huge adds for us. We're able to add a couple others in Ethan Kurt, another Tier 1 player. Actually played out of Poway last year. We're excited to have him in the lineup. We have Daniel Parizak, another Tier 1 defenseman. So with the level of players that we're bringing into our program, these guys come with a lot of experience, a lot of grit. They work hard. Our freshman class is really pushes the upperclassmen because they see these guys, they volunteer to skate every day. They don't care if it's a JV practice. They want to be on the ice. They're lifting weights extra on Tuesdays and Thursdays and shooting pucks. So as far as I'm concerned, last year. We learned from it, and we're coming out with 0-0. We're undefeated so far. So, away we go.
That's a good point. Speaking of team bonding elements, too, to try to build everything, we mentioned that we're taking our show on the road to Vegas like we did last year.
No,
You were all we don't bond. No, it's more for the teams. You guys are going to make the trip out to Vegas again this year. What was that experience like last year for the team?
It was fantastic. I think that we really enjoy being on a bus together, spend a lot of time together. Our team never has a problem, as far as bus trips, stuff like that. With the locker room's really a light. It's a great place to be. I'll let Aiden kind of. What did you think of the Vegas trip last year?
As I feel, especially for the younger guys, it's a great opportunity to get to know the team a lot better. A lot of times, so like the younger classmen and the older classmen really bonded together on that trip. And I think everyone just became closer as a whole and really learned what being a team was like, especially, I know, some people for the first time. So for me.
Does most of the team stick together on campus? I mean, do you guys all have lunch together?
Yeah.
And I mean, does the rest of the school know that's the hockey team over there? Is that pretty much the way it works?
There are a certain section, I'd say about half the team, they sit at this one place near the Arts Building. They just all get their little spot and sit up there together. Kind of jokesters, but yeah.
It's a little mixed match. You'd be surprised. I think last year we had 2 of our freshmen win academic awards. These guys, you won't see them anywhere near your team. They're with the foreign exchange students or working on trips or community service projects. So the faculty have really told us that they're seeing the hockey guys that have come in, especially as juniors and sophomores, really integrate into the community here, which is something that we preach a lot. This whole community integration, ethical responsibility in the community, something is really important. So it's something I talk to our guys about quite often, about how important it is that we make sure that we take good care of our community. It's a better place than when we found it.
You guys got a big game to open up the year tonight against the defending champions. Surprise defending champions, I should say. Capo Valley Capo United Coyotes. How do you prepare for that?
We've been talking about it for a while. I think we've really been talking about the right kind of mindset for every game. This one's just got a few more bright lights shining on it. We've prepared for a team that's going to come out and pressure us. They're a high-pressure team. You mentioned kind of surprising. I don't think Capo would be surprised at all based on their work ethic. They come out and they hit you in the mouth, and they're going to keep coming. And so that's what we're prepared for in every game. We try to bring that practice intensity, every time we take the ice. And our coaching staff, Josh Albright and Ben Upham, have really pushed the envelope with really getting players to walk that fine line in practice of preparing one another for the game.
I got a question for Patrick. Do you look at the opponent's roster before a game? Do you say, okay, I got to watch 19, I got to watch 21, when he comes down the wing, do you know which players to watch on the other team, or?
Yeah, honestly, I did look at the other teams at Capo's roster, just kind of looking around, because I have 1 or 2 friends on the team, so I know some people, but I always got to keep an eye out for different players, new players. So.
Okay.
Ben Snyder's not around.
I was going to worry about number 19's gone. But I'm sure number 19 sweater is still there on the ice.
Still there somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here today on the Report Card, and more importantly, thank you for hosting us and being so hospitable to us, because this has been a great.
The initial host.
Yes, the first campus that we visited doing this show. Yeah, so we appreciate it. This has been great. Juan Trevino, the head coach, Jennifer Bjornstad, Aiden Bortz, and Patrick O'Donnell. Thank you so much for being here on the Report Card, and good luck tonight.
Yep, go Birds. Thank you.
Go Birds. Go Flock.
Go Flock. Yes.
Go Flock. Go Flock.
Yes.
That's the Firebirds here on the Report Card here down at Pacific Ridge School. It's good to have them on. This has been a great premiere episode for us. Season 2 premiere here of the Report Card on Facebook Live. Again, Eric Pessolano, Chuck Lasik, Matt Blanchard coming to you here from Carlsbad, California. We got to take a look at this season now coming up, because we got a lot going on. We've got 50 teams in the league now. The focus, of course, on the varsity divisions and everything going on in the upper levels. We're going to start with Division 1. Division 1 looks somewhat similar to what it did last year.
Yeah, we got a couple.
With one exception.
He said somewhat, Chuck.
I know, we cut up some slack. All right, my goodness.
Look, it wouldn't be an episode of the show if he wasn't yelling at me for an hour and a half. So that's how we have to do this.
I just criticize.
You just criticize. And we're going to throw up a slide here in a second to show you all the teams in Division 1. We recapped last year with Santa Margarita being the champion, Tahoe Hockey Academy appearing in that title game 2 years in a row. We've got a lot to look forward to at Division 1.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think Division 1 is obviously, the premier division. And pure schools going off to the national tournament. The winners can move on, and I think it's a little bit more wide open this year than it was in years past. Santa Margarita obviously graduated a lot of seniors, but they reloaded just like they do every year. So, there's no one school dropped being Edison. They dropped down out of Division I, which is fine. But we replaced them. So, somebody else came in.
Yes, we did. You see the graphic right there on your screen. There are the 7 teams that are going to be competing up in Division I this year. Bellarmine, Damien, J. Sarah, Orange Lutheran, Santa Margarita, Tahoe Hockey Academy, all returners from last year, and the new addition from Stockton, California, the St. Mary's Rams. And they've already gotten some coverage up north, and they're very excited to be joining the league this year.
Yeah, Stockton of all places. They have a minor league hockey team there in the AHL that the Gulls play. I think it's fantastic. They reached out to us about a year ago at the beginning of the season last year, and we worked all the way through the details and got them involved. They appear to be a very strong team right out of the chute. They got a great facility. The school is fully behind them, just as every other Division I school requires pretty much. They are in the weight room. They're playing. They got Derek Eisler heading up the program, a very solid hockey guy. So I think that's going to be a very good program. I think the general consensus is nobody knows what we're getting with St. Mary's. Nobody has any idea.
Yeah, welcome to our preview, and we have no idea.
Yeah, so thanks for that. Yeah. But I think they run a first class. We've been communicating with the schedule. They've been accommodating to us. On weekends that they're available to come down. So I'm excited to see them. I don't even know what the jerseys look like yet. So I think Division I to me is, I love Division I games. I love them all, but I think that's that is the division. And
you can take a look at California Rubber. They did a great article on St. Mary's that I read about a week and a half ago. Go check that one out. All about the St. Mary's Rams. They're going to be. They're not going to back down from anybody this year. We know that much.
We'll even get some games in Stockton. So they're playing a game or two in Stockton this year. So that's awesome.
Road trip? Maybe no. Maybe next year.
You take the pick, Chuck. Where we go on the road.
I got you.
Okay.
You know where my heart lies.
Okay. Well, if you want to go to Stockton in lieu of Vegas, I'll be happy to book the Hampton Inn.
Perhaps the budget will be expanded next year, and we show that we do a good job here. Right now, it doesn't look so good. Anyway, let's move on to Division II. We have 6 teams in Division II this year, but as we're going to show you here in a second, this graphic that pops up, there's only 5 logos there, and this again is a testament to the expansion of the league. You see Capistrano United, La Jolla Country Day, Pacific Ridge School, of course, St. John Bosco, but 2 teams from the Vegas Junior Golden Knights program will have Vegas Junior Knights Gray and Vegas Junior Knights White. They're both going to compete against each other in the same division, and they're going to get to play a couple of games against each other out in the desert and have their own home games.
They are. They'll each get one home game.
Yeah.
Which by default means they'll get one road game. But,
in their own home building. In all honesty, they're all going to play 15 or 14 road games when they come out to California, but they're going to play a couple at home.
Yeah, no, they had 2 teams, one team 2 years ago, 2 teams 1 year ago, and now they've got 3 teams.
3 teams.
How can you not? Obviously the Golden Knights of the NHL are doing great.
I would say so.
Hockey is on the upswing in Las Vegas, and if they need some place to play that's competitive for them, we'll be more than happy to accommodate that. And I think it's great. I think it's gives us the opportunity to go out to Las Vegas to have the Vegas Showcase, which we'll probably talk about for this coming season a little. But games there. They have decided from early reporting is that February 8th and 9th are going to be the games that they play each other there. So I think it's great. I think it's Division II. Is as competitive as Division I. Yeah. They can be merged into one. We decided not to do that this year. Who knows what the cards hold for next season? But they play each other. They cross over. Everybody in Division I plays everybody in Division II.
Yes. So don't they actually have a chance to go to their own national tournament too, or is that?
Yes, they do. Division II has a USA Hockey combined national tournament that. They go through the same process as Division I through CAHA. There is a CAHA state tournament that they have to qualify in first to qualify for the national tournament.
Which they did last year, right?
Yes.
They sent a team out to the national championships last year.
St. John Bosco went to the national tournament and finished 3rd.
Yeah.
So Santa Margarita won the Division I. Bosco made it to the semifinals and finished 3rd in the Division II. So we represent very well.
Pretty good representation.
Yeah.
Just growing in stature by the minute. So yes, 2 teams out in Vegas in Varsity Division II this year. Let's move on to Division III, which is now broken down into 2 conferences. We're going to start with the Catella Conference, as it is being
I like
dubbed.
that. I wonder who thought about that one. That was a pretty good name.
That's a great name.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I wonder who.
I'm going to give no credit to whoever came up with
No,
that.
no kidding.
Anyway, so here we go. You take
Okay, fine. I did it.
We have the Catella Conference. You look at the logos
Who
there.
was it? Iceman? It was me. 12. Oh, Chuck. Great naming, Chuck.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go.
Chuck, that's a tremendous name.
Thank you.
Today's show is brought to you by insert generic aspirin company here. Anyway, take a look at those logos right there on your screen. You see the Huntington Beach Oilers logo. They're going to go under the auspices of Beach Cities this year. They've combined with Long Beach Prep to form one varsity Division III team, so they'll compete together. They'll wear the Oiler logo. They'll wear the Long Beach logo as well, alternating games. Villa Park comes back to D3. We see Corona Norco. Upland Christian Academy has gone down to Division III this year. You see the Vegas Junior Golden Knights. They have a Division III team as well for a total of 3 teams this year. The Bishop Amat Lancers are there. The Modern Day Monarchs, they're back, they're stronger, and they have combined with another team as well. They'll combine with Newport Mesa to form one varsity Division III team. They'll do the same at the JV level. We're not going to get too much into JV here today on the show, but they'll do the same thing at the JV level. They'll wear the Modern Day red and white at varsity. They'll wear the Newport Mesa blue and black down at the JV level. You see the Servite Friars here and Placentia Yorba Linda wrap up Division III's Catella Conference.
There you go.
It's a good little conference. I like that.
Yeah, it is. There's 7 teams there in that Catella Conference, and you want to talk about competitiveness. This could be a knockdown, drag-em-out fight throughout the year.
Well, yeah, Division III they play across, so they're only going to play each other once. So where they end up seating in the standings is where they're going to, they play each other once. So, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be I think Division III is going to be pretty well balanced. I think there's a couple, we changed the format this year, so there was some preseason stuff. And the grades are in from the preseason games, so you can kind of judge who may be the early season favorites, but I think it'll be a very strong conference.
Absolutely. And then we move on to the other conference in Division III. It is the Douglas Conference. So you have the Catella Conference and you have the Douglas Conference. And for those of you who are geography majors, you can probably figure out where those names came from. But we're going to start.
Where they intersect.
Where do they intersect at? Is what we're getting at here. So you see here down at Division III, the Douglas Conference. Edison, Capistrano United, Irvine United, Santa Margarita, Beckman, and then, of course, North County, Poway, and Central Cathedral from down here in the San Diego area. We see Irvine United, formerly known as the Woodbridge Warriors. They have changed their name this year. Still the same team. Logo has changed a little bit. Rick Hutchinson, though, still coaching the team. That's one thing that hasn't changed. Should be fun at the Douglas Conference. Again, you've got a bunch of teams down here who are pretty equally matched.
Well, and I think the general gist of it is, for those that look at the list as well, it's somewhat geographical.
Yes.
So the Douglas Conference is south.
Yep.
South.
That makes sense, yeah.
And the Catella Conference is everybody kind of up north.
Yeah.
Even though Modern Day and
Vegas.
Vegas and but it's north. But that's the way we subdivided it this year. We changed the names this year, which I think is a great idea. We're going to be going on with these names for quite some time, I think, in the foreseeable future. But the Division III, with as many teams as are in Division III, it's going to be extremely competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, that playoff bracket is going to be, and to bring up the term playoff again before we even drop the playoff,
the puck on the first game of the season.
But 17, 18, 19 teams in Division III, that bracket's going to be huge, and and you can probably call 2 or 3 upsets. So, I think that's going to be a great division to watch.
Chuck, look at these teams down here in the Douglas Division. Who stands out to you?
Well, I know Matt has his eye on Beckman already, so I'm going to have to take some of the South County teams. They're here down in San Diego. I mean, we have North County. Is that North County? NC?
Yeah, North County.
North County, yeah, North County. And then the Poway. I mean, all defensive teams we've seen before, pretty much defensive-minded teams. And you know what? You have the high-flying teams coming from Orange County, and they run into the defense. I'm interested to see what goes on, see if they can put the puck in the net this year.
Well, North County has a coach that's is related to the Ducks coach.
Oh, really?
Craig Carlisle is the coach of the North County team, who is the son of Randy Carlisle.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, I'm
right there.
Yeah. So, there's some coaching talent in the league all throughout all the divisions. So, again, I think that's going to be there's so many games in Division III where they go on every weekend. It's like, okay, it's just great to see the amount of games and how that affects the standings.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. I'm looking at Santa Margarita. I'm looking at Central Cathedral. Those are two of the teams that are going to stand out to me in this Douglas Conference. Seeing Central Cathedral was in Division II last year. They've dropped down to Division III. They are battle tested. They went to Vegas last year as well, and I think they're going to be one team to look out for here.
Well, I heard Edison has new jerseys this year.
We got to see those the other day. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're So when you sport a new new sweater, there's always a little bit of I think a little bit of pride in that. Yeah. You got to try to get out there and earn it. So and Edison coming from Division I, I'm sure they'll be eager to get after it as well.
Yes, they will be.
So,
it's going to be a fun Division III
Yeah.
time for, like we said, they're broken into conferences, but everybody's going to play each other once. So anything can happen down there at Division III. We talked a little bit about the places that we're going to see some games this year. Of course, we're going to kick off the year here at Icetown Carlsbad for our first broadcast on Black Dog Hockey later on tonight at 7:30. You can click on over and watch the live stream of that game. But we're going to start our year at the rinks at Anaheim Ice. Those games will be next weekend.
Is that when we start?
Or we at next weekend.
St. Mary's comes down
Friday
next
night.
weekend.
St. Mary's will be
We
down
only have
here.
one next week, don't we? There's only one next week? You told me one. I thought you said we only have one next week.
No, we have one this week.
Oh, one this week. I got you.
So that's
Okay.
good. You're paying
okay,
attention to me
Chuck.
right out of the game.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We're going to be at Anaheim Ice. We're going to go to the rinks Lakewood Ice. We've got some games in Westminster. But then after the first of the year, that's when everything changes. We will be moving to Great Park Ice and Sports Complex over in Irvine at the Great Park. 5 Point Arena will host a majority of our games. And there's two other rinks that we'll be occupying in that
We don't need
four-sheet
those stinking rings.
rink.
Yeah, we do, Chuck. Chuck, quiet. Yeah, we do.
This is why we're starting in October.
Yeah, we do, Chuck.
We have all this extra ice now that needs to be used, and it can help us. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you remember our season finale of the report card last year, we shot from in front of the Great Park Ice and Sports Complex. We were out in the construction zone in our hard hats and our vests, and we looked fashionable, let me tell you.
Yeah, we did.
That building.
That was a great show, by the way. That was fun. That was kind of fun. That was a good one. Yeah,
Next
that was
Miss
a good one.
Perky.
The next time we're there, it's going to be all completely done, and it's going to be all beautiful in the background. Not that it wasn't last time we were there. But, Matt, you and I got to go down there a few months later to go check out the progress, and my goodness, is that place going to be grandiose.
Yeah, it was a few months ago, and they had the Jumbotron hung up over the main rink.
See, I haven't been here since then.
Yeah, no, it was great. I know they've given some other schools the opportunity to go visit. Yeah, I mean, it's, what can you say? I mean, it's first class. It's going to be, words I don't think are going to describe it once we get into it. We saw the blue glass being put in. Man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I just simply can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun to get inside those doors and not have to stay on the outside and make sure we didn't get hit with any debris from all that construction going on.
No kidding.
But yeah, but we're still using Anaheim. Anaheim's not going away.
Anaheim's not going away. We'll still be there.
And when schools need, there'll be plenty of weekends when I think we, as a collective group, will be in Anaheim at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and have to boogie down to the Great Park for a 2 o'clock game. So
it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're going to be all over the place covering the league. You guys will be covering the league. I obviously will be jumping from rink to rink.
And not only that,
so
we're playing games on Wednesdays this year.
Yeah,
right? How fun is that going to be?
Yeah. Wednesday games start January 9th, I think, is the first. Yeah, January 9th, I think, is the first Wednesday. We have 4 games on the big rink, and it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great.
We've turned it into a college basketball schedule. We play Wednesday, Friday, or Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. We talked about Black Dog Hockey and how a lot of our broadcasts will be on there this year. Obviously, we want to thank Andy Dickerson and everybody at Black Dog Hockey for providing the equipment, first of all, to do this show on a regular basis. But not only that, we will be covering 110 games on Black Dog Hockey this year in both the regular and the postseason. We're also going to have the All-Star Games for you on January 30th, which will be from 5 Point Arena at the Great Park Ice and Sports Complex. We'll have our 5 championship games like we always do. Those will also move to Irvine. We'll have those later on in March of 2019.
And I think we're going to set a record, too, for venues as well.
Yes, we are.
Anaheim,
We have to.
Lakewood, Irvine, Carlsbad, San Jose, and Summerlin.
Summerlin, Nevada. when we go out to Vegas.
Then you get a multitude of rinks in San Diego.
Yeah.
There's probably 4 or 5 rinks in San Diego that Juan mentioned earlier, that where everybody is. SDIA, UTC Ice, Poway Ice, SDIF. It's just pretty much every rink in San Diego where we have a team now. Even in Escondido, which is going to be brand new for us with the North County team.
Yeah.
We've been able to get. We're going to do, I believe, it's 4 regular season games there. So
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing in Stockton.
Stockton this year.
We're going to play a game in Tahoe. Tahoe's hosting a home game.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some kind of record.
Yes, exactly.
All over the state.
Yeah.
Here in California. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we have a lot on tap for you here in this 2018-2019 season, both on Facebook Live and at Black Dog Hockey, so check us out. We talked about the report card having 13 episodes this year. We mentioned where we're going to take the show on the road, all the different things we're going to do with the show, some of the features and some of the segments that we're adding in. We're going to start talking about top 5 all-time. How are we talking about all-time things, and it's year 11 of this league, and we've got
it's year
so
11,
much.
It's year 11 for Jay Sarah. So as a league, you're kind of looking at 10 years.
Yeah,
so.
but even less. But we've had so much that's happened in just that short amount of time that we can talk about it. We've got all-time teams coming up. We've got all-time players we're going to talk about.
All-time games?
All-time games we're going to talk about. Playoff games.
All-time commissioners?
All-time commissioners. All one of them. It's really a list with just 5 names. The same name 5 times. We could do all-time broadcasters. Which, by the way, I'm not asking for anything, but when 2 guys are broadcasting and starting their 10th year
10 year, jeez.
together, and neither of us have killed the other one, which is just a miracle in itself.
Relationship in my life right now, yeah.
This is it's the kickoff of our 10th year on the air.
Holy
here
cow,
today.
my goodness.
Oh my
So who
goodness.
is the? So you're telling me you're going to do top 5 players?
That's going to be a tough one. I'm
That's
not sure,
hard.
Well, we can discuss. We can discuss.
Are we backing down from a challenge? You know who would be upset at us backing down from a challenge? The Iceman.
Say it. There it is.
The
13.
Iceman.
Lucky 13, baby.
And we're going to end it on that note. Before we get off the air here today in Carlsbad, a real quick special thanks to everybody, especially here at Pacific Ridge School, the head of school, Dr. Bob Ogle, for allowing us to come onto his campus and doing our show here today. Of course, you saw Juan Trevino, the head coach from Pacific Ridge. He put a lot of this together. To Todd and Jody Cadju, we want to thank them for all their dedication
like Brad
to hockey.
Jelena or whatever.
Do we have to come up with a name for them? Yeah, I think we might need to do that. And one of the more important gentlemen that we met the other day, Bill, when we came down here, who's the IT guy who came up and set up all of our cords and wires so we could broadcast to you live today from Carlsbad, to our technical director, camera operator, and a light fixture extraordinaire, Christian Ilton.
He also picked the lunch restaurant.
He did pick our lunch location today.
Yeah.
You know what? 2 stiff handshakes for Christian Ilton, not just one. We're giving him a raise. For the commissioner of the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League, Matt Blanchard, my partner, Chuck Lasik, I'm Eric Pesolano saying so long from Pacific Ridge School here in Carlsbad, California. Don't forget, Pacific Ridge hosting Capistrano United tonight at 7:30 on Black Dog Hockey. Click on Overwatch that. Chuck and I will have the play-by-play for you there. You've been watching the Season 2 premiere of The Report Card right here on Facebook Live. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.